Good morning. We are in southern Arizona, and we're at Cochise County Airport. I am using an HP Reverb G2, and I am using valve index controllers. I am an X-Plane 11.51 R1, and I am using the Reality expansion pack, and which makes the plane much more realistic and less forgiving than the default. Because of that, I wanted to kind of like show something. So I'm going to go to plugins, Reality expansion pack, and I'm going to go to the there's two places I want to go. One is the maintenance report. So if I click on the maintenance report, so this shows up. So basically, you can basically fix if there's something broken. You can fix it. So it is. Get it here. So it's got like 9 pages, and we can go ahead and if I click here, basically it strokes through all the pages. This here is something new. I'm not going to use it. So changing rudder trim tab will affect the amount of rudder required during cruise. So basically you can, right from the maintenance, so it's like you went out and bent the tab on the back end on the rudder. You basically can bend the tab, which is pretty cool. I didn't know this was here, but that's pretty slick. I'm not going to use it. How it is right now, I'm good with it. So we'll go over here, here. I already fixed this morning, but it said I had some wear on my front and left tire. I did a couple of kind of hard landings, and it would have showed it. If I would go out and do a walk around and actually check the status of the tire, it would have probably said it would have showed like it was amber as opposed to green for good. So that's the end. I'll just go back. And the great thing is all this stuff works in VR. It's so cool, and it really is. It's pretty slick. So I got one more thing I want to check. I got to check. I'll go back here again. Wrap. I want a little weight and balance. I want to see where my fuel is. So max is 11. So let me 19. Let me put oops. Whoops. That's not what I wanted to do. So put 12 in. Back up. The max is 28, 12. Let's do 15 instead. Okay. Okay. I'll close that out. So, that should get my tanks pretty close, a little bit above half full. I don't want them really full, so let's see here. I think we're okay. So we'll go ahead and get the trying to think if there's anything else that I wanted to go over this morning, but I think that's it. So we'll go ahead and
2 brakes.
see if we can get the plane started.
Test and set. 3 fuel selector. Both. 4 fuel shut-off valve. On, in. 6 beacon. On. 7 avionics switch. Off.
Oops.
8 master switch. On. 9 throttle. Open 1/4 inch. 10 mixture. Idle cut off. A auxiliary pump. On. B mixture. Rich until 3 to 5 GPH then cut off. C auxiliary pump. Off. 12 starter. Engage. 1 ignition switch. Start. 2 mixture, at engine start. Rich. 3 engine. RPM 1000 RPM. 4 oil pressure. Check. 5 mixture. Leaned max. 6 flaps. Retract. 7 avionics. On. 8 instruments.
Okay, just waiting for the plane to warm up a little bit, and gonna go from there. So I think we got everything done here. I can go ahead and hide this. So we'll see if say weather. Flipcom one. Well, that's a little disappointing. My push to talk isn't working, so pull my headset off just for a split second here. Yeah, the fun of flying in the VR. For some reason, my push the tuck button quit working. Say active runway. Say active runway.
Arriving and departing runway 21.
Okay. Took me a little bit to get it working, but looks like everything's okay now. So runway 21. So all I gotta do is figure out how to get there. And so I believe so I'm parked parallel with the runway, so we'll go do some meandering, see if I can find the see if I can go find the 2-1. Think I'm going down this way. Yeah, that looks good. I'm certainly on a taxiway, and I've got 2-1 dialed in the dialed in my directional gyro, and so I am parallel with the runway. I got a tree in the taxiway. Oh, that's awesome. Oh well, let's not hit the tree. It doesn't know it's not supposed to be there. Yes, the trees and X-Plane need a lot to be desired, but I'd love the VR interaction, so I'll work through the problem. Yeah, we got another tree. Yeah, you're going a little quick here, Bill. Slow down a little bit. Not sure why I did that. Come on. Must have been a little softer over there than I thought it was. Alrighty, hold short a little bit here. Make sure everything's okay. Yep, looks good. Okay, this is 2-1. Even says so right here. So we'll get the plane lined up here with the runway. Get this trip on the road. Okay. Waiting for airspeed to come alive. Yeah, looks like she's alive. Waiting for rotate speed. Should be good. Up we go. Awesome. Okay, what kind of heading am I supposed to be on? Coming on course. We got to climb a little more, or turn a little more. Alrighty. So, desired track is 30. So we'll set CDI to GPS. Flight plan. start following this track. Track should be 030. So, let's see if she starts bringing her back. Yeah, looks like she is. Cool. So, I'm going to change this. I had it on satellite view so I could actually see the taxiway. So I'm going to put it on chart. And then I'm going to make it bigger, I think. There we go. So now we can see the track on the map, and it should be tracking my position. So we gotta make sure we get up over these mountains here. So that's why I left the power in at full power right now. About 2,400 RPM, something like that. I ain't gonna do this forever, but I just want to make sure I can get up over the mountains. If I can, then I can pull the power back. Man, it does look hazy. Oh well. Well, let's see how it goes. So, need to figure out where I'm going. So, the next place I'm going, I think, is CFT. Yep, CFT. So, let's see what we got to do here. So, we have a C-tap there. Got 2 runways. 7 and 25. Looks like I'm going for 25. We got no other information, so I'll dial this into 25. 24, 25. So far everything's going pretty good. Not too bad. Kind of messed up a little bit here. Nav lights on, taxi lights off, landing lights on. I think that's good. Everything else looks fine to me. We're going in a somewhat easterly direction, so it should be an odd plus 500. So as I come up, 7,500 should absolutely clear me of the mountains here. So once I get close to there, I'm going to pull the power back to 22 and try to get the plane to level off at about 7,500. The airport we're going to is 38, so it is at about 4,000 feet. So I'll be high, but I got to clear these mountains first. So I start pulling back power now. I'm going to try for 2,200. Pull back on the yoke a little bit, do a little trim. Because I still got a little bit to climb yet. I got about 150 feet to climb yet. but I have 45 nautical miles to go, so whether I gotta get over that next ridge of mountains in front of me or not, I'm not quite sure yet, so let's have to play it by ear. It's got about 30 minutes to go to get to the next airport. So the next plane, I can fly like with the S-Tech that's in the S-Tech GPS that's in here and the autopilot. I can fly with I can fly what I'm doing. So basically I'm using GPS to point the plane in the direction of the airport. But I am controlling the elevation. In Microsoft Flight Simulator that has I think a King 140 I think. And in that plane they're both connected together. So you can't like set a heading or GPS and then manually control the altitude. It's all connected to the autopilot. So they're quite different in that respect. I kind of like the way this is. It kind of reduces my workload a little bit to where the altitude out here is much more important than necessarily where you're going. But if where you're going, if you can kind of not terribly be concerned with that, then you can just pay attention to when you need to make an elevation change. Because I'm from the East Coast, and mountains like these, they don't exist where I live anyhow. We have hills, we don't have mountains. So out here, it's kind of important to be able to, if you need to, without disconnecting the autopilot, I can make an altitude change and avert running into a mountain. So I got the plane trimmed up pretty good. I think I'm 2,200 RPM on the engine, and basically I'm in level flight. I'm climbing just a little bit, so I'm going to push on that in the yoke just a little bit, and then turn the trim wheel up to relieve the pressure. And as long as the RPM stay the same, the result should be I increase in airspeed. And if it is, it's like 90, maybe 85. Something like that. But at the direction, I have to be either at 7,500 or 5,500. And so when I get a little bit closer, then I'll pull the power back, and I will get down to 5,500. Especially the fact that the airport I'm going to is at 3811. So that means pattern altitude would be around 5,000 feet. So 5,500 would be a good cruise in to get to that airport. The goal at the next airport is to do touch and go, and as long as the weather conditions allow, that's what I plan on doing. Yesterday when I was going to my second airport, the weather changed. I got a weather reload, and it changed dramatically. So I had to end up doing a full stop landing as opposed to a touch and go, and change of weather, and then took off and went to the last airport. Scenery out here, I use the program called Ortho for XP, and basically allows you to create tiles that improve the default scenery in X-Plane. It's certainly not the same as Microsoft Flight Simulator, but it absolutely does improve it. I mean, it is more realistic, but not too not with Microsoft Flight Simulator, where you basically have an AI that's basically kind of looking at their scenery data and basically using AI to kind of improve it. So kind of a different technique. Yeah, I'm gonna stay at this altitude for a little bit. Looks like I'm lined up for a mountain, and once the airport kind of shows up in between me and that mountain, not the near one, but the further one, I'll want to stay here. The next airport's like right up in here someplace, so sure looks like that's a 7.2, so that means that's 7,000 feet right there where that ridge is there. So it looks like I'm probably going to have to go over that mountain there to get to the airport. It's what it kind of looks like, but I'll just stay right here for right now, and see how it works out. No sense going up and down if you don't have to, so. So I just pushed in on the yoke and I moved the trim wheel like about 2 nubs. So, as long as I'm on autopilot, everything looks good. So, touch controllers in X-Plane they kind of work like this. So if I bring my touch controller close to the virtual cockpit, it lights up. And when it lights up, I feel it. My touch controller makes, so if I go like, get real close, my touch controller, I can feel it tick, tick, tick. And I basically know, like when I reach down and move my trim wheel, I pushed in my yoke, I touched my trim wheel, I could feel when I did it, and just moved my touch controller. I pulled the trigger, pulled the touch controller up, just a little bit. I could feel that in my touch controller. So I knew I actually did something with the trim wheel, and legitimately didn't have to look at it. It's right there. There's nothing else really close to that area, and so it allows me to like make a trim adjustment just using touch controllers, and be sure you actually did that. So we still got 30 miles to go. I'm still not sure if we're going to be over this mountain or not. I'm really not sure. If we're not, I'm going to have to get rid of some altitude. But at 30 miles, I'm thinking that mountain's closer than that. And hopefully I'm high enough. But I'd rather be at 7,500 than 5,500 and go, oh crap, that mountain's 7,800. Yeah, if I'm looking at my sectional, I'm thinking I've got to be on the other side of the airport's got to be on the other side of the mountain. Just a guess. The challenge of hazy conditions is your depth perception gets really distorted, but it is what it is. Out of the world we live in anymore. like I gotta go over that mountain. But I'm thinking we're right after the mountain, I gotta get rid of some elevation too. It's kind of fun judging this kind of stuff. It looks like my track is pretty much the tallest part of that mountain. That's hilarious. But we'll see like how high I am, if I gotta do any changing or not. Because I'm pretty level flight right here, so. Yeah, because I normally like hand fly everything, but I've decided to at least put a heading to get me kind of pointed to the right airport. Just put it on GPS and let it take you there, and do the altitude hand flying, and certainly get you to kind of enjoy the scenery a little bit better. So I've dropped just a little bit in altitude, and I'll pull the up back just a little bit. Pull the rudder, the trim wheel down. Just pitch the plane up just a little bit, not much at all. Because I wasn't that much too low. I'm pretty picky about altitude. To me, plus or minus 100 feet is, I certainly should be able to do that. Especially when you're not worried about direction of travel. It's a lot easier. Where all you have to focus on is just your altitude. It says we're 17 miles away. I'd say that mountain's closer than that. But I've known to be wrong, so. From where my heading bug is, the airport should be on my left. might have to get busy right after the mountain. It says I'm 8 minutes out from the airport, so we'll see how it goes. Because I'm sure there isn't a mountain or an airport on top of the mountain. The airport is at 38, so it's at 4,000 feet. So I'm gonna have to get rid of some altitude here pretty quick. But that's all part of the fun. Hazy as it is, I probably won't be able to see the airport until I'm probably 5 miles away, and I'm 11 miles away, so. And I'm way above these mountains. I'm probably, it could be as much as 1,000 feet above these mountains by the looks of it. Bye. Because of that, I think I'm going to pull some power back. You look. Oh, heck yeah. I'll start doing some descending. to be right up there in front of me. So, it's about time to get rid of the autopilot. My airplane. So I'm going to try to get to the right of it. It ain't real obvious where it is. Be the runway. $5,000 feet. Trying to get out of here, Barney. at 0. Really? Turned out pretty good. The cool thing is I landed that way. I didn't even have to turn. I just kind of took off runway heading, and I'm lined up to go to the next airport. But once again, we got mountains to get over. So we just leave full power in here to get up over these guys. And, the next one isn't too far away. It's only 20 miles, so. See if I can put the GPS back on, if it'll pick up. Sure, I'm happy. I'll pick it may have ended up okay, but I had a little bit of a concern where it seemingly wanted to put me. I'll pick since I'm still climbing, I'll pick a different place to go across here. And over there it's taller than over here. So. And I'm not that far off track, so I'll be okay. Cool. So going this direction, I'm going west, so it should be at uneven, so this would be like 6,500, so I'll level it off here, and it's 6,500, and as soon as I clear the mountains, then I'll drop it back down. And let's see where we're going the KSAD SAD. That's at 3,000, so it's kind of lower. What do we got for runways? So we got two different runways. So I think we're going to do 26. That was 25. Turn up a little bit. West is 27. So nope, we're going to do 30. 26 is 4,700, 30 is 6,000. I like 6,000 better. In front of me. like a runway is over on my right. So, I have to figure out how I want to approach this. I think I'll figure out a way to get, get on the downwind of this. Just have to figure out how to do that. Airport's like 13 miles away. And all looks like low stuff in front of me, so I can certainly get rid of some elevation. So right now, if I kind of kept my current heading, I could do a right base, but I don't want to. I think it's most of them are all left, so I'll just set up for a downwind. Just have to get close enough to the airport where I can see it and figure out if I'm kind of lined up correctly. So airport's at 3,000 feet, 3,100 I think. Yeah, 3,100 feet, and I'm at 5,700, so got a couple of thousand feet to get rid of here. And we're just doing a gradual descent. Oh, by the looks of it, the airport's got to be over to my right. So. Too low makes it a little hard to see an airport at a distance, so I think I'm going westbound 3,000, so I think I'll try to level off at 4,500 feet, and that should help. So I'll be about 500 feet above pattern, but I'll be at a proper elevation for flying in a westerly direction. And I should be able to see the airport at some distance, which will help if I want to set up for a downwind. So I'm coming up on 4,500. I'm going to pull back on the yoke a little bit. Try to get level flight here. Still falling a little bit. So as I stop the fall, and keeping at the same RPM, the airspeed's going to drop a little bit here. So about 85 knots. means I'm certainly in flap range, so certainly nothing obvious so far. Going great, thank you. Getting ready to do my landing at the end. So far I can't find the airport. I think it's right in front of me, but I gotta get a little bit closer. Check some things. SAD 36,000 feet. Okay. So, yeah, that's all set up. Yeah, they're working great. They're working great. So, you're a mile away from the airport. It's gotta be right there. Okay, so let me see here. No. That's gotta be the runway. Okay. So, let me go here. Easy to see. Try to line up correctly for the right runway. I want to do it downwind. There it is. Okay, I got it. Yep, that's my runway. Thank you. Just was kind of blended in with the terrain. Okay. Thanks. I've already picked one. Alrighty, knock the flaps out. I don't see any obstacles around here. I'm too close to the runway. Trying to get squared up a little bit. Yeah, that's better. Way better. Okay, turn in on base. Not the flaps. So easy to lose that runway. Wow. Might have been. I'm not sure what was going on there. That was a little weird. That was really, really, really weird. Stop! Hello? Come on. Not sure why that did that. Guess I'll park right here. I don't see any official parking spaces, so this should be good. Yeah, that was really, really weird. It was like I had to come in with like an unbelievable amount of power just to make the runway, and I really didn't think I was that low. Nah, 31, that's where, I mean, it isn't like my altimeter was wrong. No, it's X.1. This is the only difference is I'm running the reality expansion pack, and so That's the only difference, but I don't think they changed it. I don't think the stall horns changed. I don't think so at all. But I am running Reality Expansion Pack. Whoops. But I don't think that should make any difference. But it sure did act like I was like just running out of power. Well, maybe most people don't land quite with the stall horn just screaming at them. You know, I mean, I knew. I mean, it's kind of cool when you're in VR because you can kind of look down and go, yeah, I may get a hard landing, but that I'm not that far above the ground. So, but she was screaming pretty good. This will be a good VOD. That turned out okay. So we got that up. I was just looking on my trim. My trim didn't seem that far off. Yeah. I don't know what the heck that was all about, but hey, there's life. But yes, I am using the, so I have the HP Reverb G2, and I'm using my Valve Index controllers. And I'm just, if I could do the same thing in Microsoft Flight Simulator, I would be a very happy person. But not only do they not have support for controllers, whenever I try to use them with my HP Reverb G2, every once in a while the head tracking just goes away. It just stops. So what I mean by that is that when it quits, when I move my head right now, when I move my head back and forth, the outside view is what moves. The cockpit stays in one place. When that happens, the cockpit moves, which is, I've been using VR long enough that I can kind of deal with it. If you haven't, you'll probably get nauseated. I mean, because it is extremely disconcerting. Yeah, it is. Okay, so they have VR. That's great. I'm sorry, but I enjoyed the immersion of VR in an X-plane cockpit, and so I fly with I fly with a set of MFG rudder pedals, and I have a Fulcrum 1 yoke. That's my hardware. Everything else I do in this cockpit is done with VR controllers. I started using VR and X-Plane a month after it was released. It was released on Christmas Day, I think 3 years ago now. And I kind of looked at it and I went, and understand I'm the author of KSAD panels. So I had a whole bunch of hardware. Yeah, I mean, so I seen it when it was released on Christmas, and I understand that the hardware, you know. So I'm kind of going like, if I get hooked on this, the hardware is going to be useless, and so I kind of like went, well, okay. So I says, okay, I'm going to order, and I ordered a Vive. So this is a great story. So I ordered a Vive shortly after its release, X-Plane native VR support. My birthday is the 9th of January. My Vive showed up on my birthday. I thought it's an omen. And so I had my Vive for a week, and I'm flying out of Erie. And so I'm flying out of Erie. And I'm using a Reality Expansion Pack. I want to fly. I don't want to like wait for the engine to warm up. So I go ahead. I take out of Erie. I bet you I'm 800 or 1,000 feet above the ground. And all of a sudden, I can hear the engine kind of going like, "This engine is not happy with you. You have abused it." All of a sudden, like I said, I'm 1,000 feet AGL. Engine stops. I've had VR for a week. The engine stopped dead. I'm like, okay, well, if I'm in a real airplane, I'll fly straight ahead and land this thing. I'm in a simulator. What can we do? I just did a very, very gradual turn. Just turned it around. Erie Airport's 8,000 feet long. If I can get the runway underneath me, I'll be golden. I did. That's one of the better landings I ever did. From that day forward, I never, in X-Plane, ever flew anything but VR. I never flew a flat screen again. Just did not. It was like, it was so real, you know, that I kind of like went, oh, this is cool. And I understand it was a Vive. So, I mean, it wasn't like the resolution like with my G2 here. These are cool. Yeah, it just, no way. But when Microsoft Flight Simulator come out, I looked at it and it went, this is pretty cool. So I think I had it 2 days before I ordered Track IR, you know, for Microsoft Flight Simulator. And so I flew with that until I got VR. But I'm so I've kind of like lived through the early adoption of VR, because it isn't like X-Plane in the beginning was perfect, but what they did do is from day one, you had touch controller support from day one. They didn't think it was an afterthought. They had it from day one. That's a very big difference. So, but yeah, to me it is. To me it is. I get a charge out of these people that, oh, I think flying with using a mouse is better than touch controllers. I'm like, what's your VR experience? I mean seriously. I mean I have 3 years of VR experience in a flight simulator. I might have a clue how it works. Yeah, I use I have my buttons. So I have my button on my right side of my yoke where I can toggle my yoke visibility. And then over on my left side, I have a push to talk button. So that's what I use for Pilot ATC. So but those are the only 2 buttons that I use. Everything else is done with touch controllers. But I have index touch controllers, so they can always be on my hands. And you figure when I'm landing that airplane, I'm landing it with 2 fingers on one side of the yoke. I don't have 2 hands on it, just one hand. That's how I land an airplane. So I didn't do as good a job as I should have, but it isn't like I mean, I had it reasonably well under control. So, but cool. So I'll call it a day for today, and tomorrow I'll fly. My goal is to fly out of here. No, none whatsoever. This is crazy. This is crazy. In X-Plane, let me clarify this. I have the littlest, every once in a while, yeah, I'm using, what is that called? Oh, open, there's a program. Oh, Space Calibrator. I think there's a program called Space Calibrator. So what you do is you basically run this program, and Open Space Calibrator. So basically you run this program and you take one of your G2 controllers and hold it in the same hand as you have for your valve index controller, and then you basically move your hand all around, and that basically gets data points so that it knows where your controller is. So and it works quite well. I'm pretty happy. The only issue I would say that I have is every once in a while the head tracking kind of goes, it just quits, like for a split second or two. Not like in Microsoft Flight Simulator, where it seems like I can't ever recover when that happens. It just may happen but right now, I can move my head back and forth at a pretty good rate. And I would say the tracking right now is as good as, not as good as my Valve Index. I'll never say that. But it's pretty good. But what I am trying to do is, I bought a Vive tracker. What I'm going to do is mount the Vive tracker on my G2 headset. And when the software comes of age, because it hasn't quite yet, this open calibrator, it's supposed to support this. So I'll have like a head tracker, or a tracker, or a Vive tracker on my headset, and then basically I'll have all Lighthouse tracking. So I won't have any inside out. I can't remember which is which. But whatever the normal G2 tracking is, I won't be using it. I'll be using a Lighthouse. So at that point in time, the tracking will be as good as it's going to get. And as good as you can get. Yeah, as good as you can get. So so that's kind of my goal over the probably next couple of months. And yeah, this is how my history of Valve of Index controllers. I had a Vive to begin with, and then I bought a Vive Pro. And after I bought the Vive Pro, I kept hearing about these Index controllers. When they're going to come out, when they're going to come out, when they're going to come out. And so finally they got released. So I had, at that time, because I had a Vive Pro, but I had the old Lighthouse 1.0 Lighthouses, the original ones. And I heard that the Index controllers would work with them. So I bought just the Index controllers. I bought them separately. I used them and loved them. I just loved them. So I was using them with a Vive Pro. And so after I got them, and then I heard about the Indexes, the visual qualities were better. A lot of things were better. Then I decided I bought an Index kit. So I actually have two pair of Index controllers. So I have one that are basically paired to my G2, and the other pair is paired to my Index headset. So so that's kind of my story with Index. I just love these controllers. They are so cool. Oh yeah. It's quite nice. I mean, there's no doubt it is quite nice. But the only part was trying to figure out, I think I've got that pretty well figured out, was getting OBS to be happy. And I think from me looking at my VODs and stuff, I think I'm pretty happy with how the streams are coming off. So I'm pretty happy. My concern is when I'm landing, I really think it's important for people to kind of see the gauges. Not necessarily all of them, but at least some of them, as opposed to just seeing what's above the windscreen. And I've tried, and if I don't get it quite right, I'll keep playing with it till I do. But because to me, it's part of the experience to actually, as best you can, try to convey on a stream what I'm seeing in a VR headset. It's hard. It really is hard, because it's not going to be the same. But as best as you can do. So, but all in all, no, I'm a very, very happy camper. So, and the funny part is that I'm like actually sitting in front of my desk. So my yoke is actually clamped to a desk. But what I've ended up doing is, so let me move this in. Let me find the desk. There it is. So my desk is actually probably about a foot It's about a foot inside this this cockpit, this VR cockpit. So my controller right now, I have it pushed against the desk. So I'm going to bring it back out. And now it shows up. So at least 6 inches. So, and I can do all that in X-Plane. The advantage is that I can come down underneath my yoke, and I can hit all these switches. All of these. Trim wheel. This. All of this. I've never hit my desk, even though I am in front of my desk, but I've never hit it. So that it, but it's all in how you adjust yourself physically in the virtual cockpit. It's all in how you do that. If you do it correctly, everything's available. You won't hit anything because, let me go up. That's the bottom of my yoke right there. So I'm below it. So that, I learned that pretty early in my VR experience, how important it is to get that position set correctly. And once you do, yeah, you can come back to it at all times. So it helps tremendously. So try anything else. Yeah, and the same way, like the interaction with like buttons. So if I come over here and I come in against my my flap switch, so when I'm close to it, it lights up and I can feel it. I feel it in my touch controller. That's important. The same way as you come over here, and so you basically turn. And it may not because the power's off. I'm not sure. Oh, you can hear it. So you can hear it. And it's a different sound. And it's a different sound in whether it's a big knob or little knob. All of those kind of interaction are important. And if you to be a proper VR experience with touch controllers, all of that's important. All of that's important. But yeah, well, I'm pretty happy. So tomorrow, I'm not sure where I'm taking off from here, and I think my next flight is at least, yeah. So I'm flying. So I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to fly from here, do a touch and go at an airport, and then do a landing. The last one I'm landing at is it's kind of like in a valley. So as you're coming over these mountains and kind of following down the mountain, and the airport has to be, wow, it's 2,000 feet below the mountains. So you're kind of coming down, and the runway is on your left as you're coming in, and you can't really do a pattern there because there's a mountain about 500 feet to the left of the runway. It's pretty bizarre. First time I landed there, it was just crazy. I was kind of coming in and like, oh, I better land pretty quick. So, alrighty, think I'm going to call it a day. And thank you so much for showing up and chiming in chat. It always makes my day when I find when somebody wants to chat with me. And we'll kind of go from there. But yeah, I plan on flying tomorrow, probably about 11. And 11 Eastern Standard Time. So that's kind of my goal. Any other questions, or are you good? We'll call it a wrap.